Hi, and welcome to another edition of Onside, where the football has reached the halfway stage in the UK. And then, of course, we've got the African Cup of Nations, so we won't be having too many games this neck of the woods. So we'll try to keep you up to speed with African Cup of Nations as they unfold. We will be looking at the Spanish League this week, so it's going to be the British League, which is great. And as ever, Budge, a good week ahead of us.
Yeah.
I think I need what you had, a haircut. You know, sheesh, I look like David Essex in his heyday, and you look like Richard Attenborough at his 21st.
I'll go and have a cup of tea with John Spence. Yeah.
Oh, Scissorhands.
The mask, yeah.
Did he do you? Okay, well done to him. But the big news, obviously, for me is Tottenham's game, beating Chelsea, making the league tighter.
Mm-hmm.
Good
what
game.
it is, it was a very good game. One-way traffic by maybe the first 5 or 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Hazard had the chance. Once that slipped past, easy victory. But until they scored the first goal, obviously it was a tight game.
But their strength has been Alonso and Moses.
Yeah.
They're completely nullified with Rose
Yeah,
and
I think
Walker.
Spurs matched up across the pitch.
Yeah.
You know, and they won the battle. But Hazard and Costa have been very quiet. That was a trick.
They're two quality players. And then Dele Alli stepped up.
I thought he was, in the first half, I wouldn't say non-existent, but every time he got the ball, they knew his strength, so they just surrounded him. But 2 good headers, 2 free headers.
Yeah. Now, that it's a great win. Puts us up to third at halfway, which we can't complain about. Just looking at Budge, did you see the list of midfielders through the Premier League, how long it's taken them to score 20 goals?
Yeah.
Dele Alli, 52. The next guy, Scholes, at about 76 games.
Yeah. Just remember, though, that some of them took penalties and free kicks. I don't know how many Dele Alli's taken.
I don't think he takes penalties.
No, that's what I mean. A lot of these guys that score,
Beckham,
the Lampards and Beckhams and Gerrards, they all took free kicks and penalties. Well, I don't think Dele Alli scored many. Tremendous effort. Yeah.
Good player, good young player. Okay, let's move on. Mark Phelan got the boot.
Yeah, Paul, it was obvious that one of the last 13. They were playing well. One good thing is the team never quit on him.
Yeah.
You know, but just not enough quality. Very.
Yeah, so he's been replaced by Marco Silva. I don't know much about him.
Well, Portuguese guy. He's only won cup. Olympiacos, well, they win the league every year in Greece.
Yeah.
He won a trophy at Sporting Lisbon. I think the cup at Estoril as well, another Portuguese
So he knows what he's doing.
Well, impossible task.
Yeah, hell of a task.
You know,
we've had one Portuguese manager do all right in the league.
Yeah, the special one.
The special one.
He came from Porto, and they were the Champions League team when he arrived in England.
Yeah, the only one. Okay, then now... I've been saying this for a long time. I watched a lot of sport over there when I was seeing the family over Christmas. But for Gooley getting the red card.
Yeah. You know, Paul, difficult for the referee. Where you see it from his side, straight red. When I watched it first time, I thought, terrible tackle. But if Fagoli wins the ball, Jones clatters him, then what is the decision?
Yeah. Jones made a meal of it. The British press had a go at Jones.
Entitled to. Yellow card at worst, Paul. I don't
yellow
think
card.
it was a red.
Every commentator said yellow card. It's been rescinded, eh?
Yeah.
So he can play against Fagoli, but it doesn't help when you get a man sent off.
Well, it did if you're a United fan. So, but no, for the game itself, it was a bad decision.
Yeah. Funny enough, when I was over there was a big article in the paper, Budge, about the watches the managers wear. And they had from the cheapest to the most expensive. And the cheapest was a manager who's just been fired, Bob Bradley.
Okay.
And his was £40. His watch, because they had a photo of all them on the sidelines with their watches. And his was £40. Who had the most expensive watch out of the Premier League managers?
Oof. I couldn't imagine it being Mourinho.
No, Mourinho's not too bad. Guardiola's about £3,500, but I think 1.6 Mourinho. They go from £40, and they're roughly £2,000-3,000 each guy's watch.
Jeez.
But the guy who wins it is 4,250. Sean Dyche.
From Burnley.
Burnley, the boss of Burnley, to the most expensive watch, and he went for his next interview and he said, "Sorry, I'm late, lads. I've just been down to the pawn shop." Because it's all over the papers.
Oh, great! He's done a great job going well at home. It's just away from home.
They're a fair side. Yeah. Now Swansea, of course, they said Bob Bradley's gone. They've taken their time. They've come up with Clement, is
Paul
it?
Clement, at Bayern Munich. Yeah.
But you've got before halfway major sides changing now. If you had a look at Crystal Palace. So if a manager's going to save a side, he's got half a season.
Well, I think he has one signing window. You know, if you're going to get rid of somebody, don't do it at the end of January. You can't sign anybody.
Yeah.
Do it in December.
Yeah.
You know, so what Swansea did was right. How Bob Bradley got the job, I don't know. But Paul Clement, he failed at Derby.
Did he?
You know, he's been an assistant at quite a few high-profile clubs. And
Well,
he's
Wally with the
Ancelotti's
Brolly's
big
doing
mate.
a good job with Derby.
Yeah,
Wally with the
they got
Brolly.
beat on Monday, but
Did they? Yeah.
but tonight he has done a good job. Well, this is a championship. This
Yeah.
is a premiership, Paul. Different ball game.
Yeah, sure, but he's got nowhere to go but up.
Yeah.
You know, and they pulled a result of Crystal Palace.
Wow, Crystal Palace buried me with a treble. I couldn't believe it, but
Yeah, that happens.
you
Eh?
know, yeah.
Now, the last thing before we talk about the markets, the transfer window, big money being offered to Sunderland for Jermaine Defoe to go to West Ham, his old club. Will that happen?
Paul, how can it happen? You know, they offered 6 million. You know, cost a couple of $100 million if you get relegated. If Jermaine Defoe goes, Sunderland are totally gone.
Yeah.
Can't sell him.
They got a squeak again out of it. They got a couple of
they-
Defoe
as long
keeps
as
scoring.
he's there,
Yeah.
keep scoring.
Gee, so that's very, very interesting. Eh? I know it's early days, 5th of January. Any confirmed transfers?
It'll be all loan signings. Stoke signed Lee Grant, the goalkeeper from Derby. Well, they had to sign
He
him.
played for them.
Yeah, he's played. Yeah, there was a negotiation. They wanted, I think, 5.5. I think the deal was done at 2.5 million. He's done well for them at Stoke.
And none of the big boys who are fighting in there.
Not yet.
You know, I think if I look across the board, I call it the top 6 now. They seem to be just dragging away,
Yeah.
I think, away from Everton. They've got a situation where they've all got a bit of money now. And they all, I think, have areas where they could strengthen. You know, Spurs haven't got that much backup to strike for a striker.
Yeah.
Man United might need another centre half. You know, even the backup for Man City, they need a couple of players.
It's just a difficult time. All the good players that they want are more than likely involved in Champions League teams.
Yeah.
So why would a champion like Atletico Madrid, everyone raids their club every year. United reportedly want Griezmann. Somebody wants Saul. But they're in the Champions League, so...
Better call Saul.
Better call Saul.
Better call Saul. Okay, Bud, let's go on to some football. Just a quick look at the log after 20 games. And here's our 90-minute three-way bet. And having a look here, Budge.
Yeah.
West Ham United, they weren't too bad with 10 men.
Yeah, I thought they were a little bit unlucky. You know, he rested Carroll and he rested Noble for this game.
Yeah.
You know, for the FA Cup, you know, I had a few rand on West Brom to win it, on the pure notion that the top 6 teams, what are their priorities? Yeah, you go through Man City, Champions League, and to finish top 4. United top 4, you know, Spurs top 4. I know United and Spurs are in the Europa League. You've got Arsenal who play Bayern Munich in the Champions League. So that's more than likely them going to be out. So the top 6 teams, Liverpool, Chelsea, on in Europe, everyone's vying for the top 4.
Yeah.
Now, other than Chelsea and Liverpool...
But these teams are fighting to get in the top 4. They're not finding in the top 4.
Yeah, but
Man City might.
Yeah, I know it's just for the FA Cup, Paul. You know, who really wants to win it? I know it's not a nice thing to say, but... It's lost its appeal with 4 places for the Champions League.
So Man City would be...
You know, he's going to rotate his squad. What was interesting is he kept Aguero and Silva on the bench against Burnley. And because Fernandinho got sent off, he had to bring them on. But I would imagine him resting Bravo, because I think there's going to be an aerial assault.
But great manager Pep Guardiola showing the signs of a few cracks on his interview the other day.
You know,
when
Paul,
they beat Burnley.
It's easy to be great when you're at Bayern Munich and you sign Borussia Dortmund, who the only danger. The first one they sold was Mario Götze. They bought him. Then they bought the centre forward Lewandowski. Then they bought Mats Hummels. That couldn't happen in England.
Yes.
Could you imagine United, Liverpool going for the league, and United go and sign Steven Gerrard?
Yeah.
There'd be a riot, and quite rightly so. You know, at Barcelona, you had Iniesta and Messi, 2 legends. How was he going to fail?
Yeah.
He comes to England every game. There's something on the line.
Yeah.
So he's
right.
been tested.
But he was very tetchy.
Yeah.
In his interview.
Yeah,
Very
I watched
unlike
it.
him.
I couldn't believe.
Very unlike him. You know, he's a cool dude, but it just shows this league gets to you.
Yeah, and the press get to you as well.
Who will win? Man City 6-10.
Yeah, I wouldn't be taking Man City as 6-10, Paul. I fancied West Ham. Last year, United done them in the quarter-final of the Cup. I thought they were going to have a good run, but Man City's a tough game for West Ham.
All right, let's move on then. 1-5, Man United Reading. Reading, is that Jaap Stam?
You know, Paul, they're 3rd in the Championship. They won 8 of the last 10 games. United have to rotate the squad. We play on Tuesday night, the semi-final of the League Cup against Hull City. I know it should be a walkover, but you know, Mourinho wants to win this League Cup. He's going to rotate his squad. It's a lunchtime kickoff. Yeah, initially I was going to throw the draw into some of the bets, but we should be too good for Reading.
Yeah, should be too good for Reading. Okay, let's move on to the other one. Now, a team that's on a bit of a slide is Watford, but should beat Burton Albion.
Well, you know, Burton Albion, it's Nigel Clough's team, so you know him in the FA Cup. I fancied an upset before I checked Burton's away record, Paul. Diabolical away from home, Burton. You know, Watford have drawn one and lost 4 of the last 5 games. If they don't get a good result here, I think he's an ex-manager fired, that Walter Mazzari. They're struggling, they've got plenty of injuries. But he's got to play his best team.
Is he the one who looks like Dustin Hoffman?
Dustin Hoffman, yeah.
Okay, so Watford should win to keep themselves alive. Then we move on to Bolton Wanderers, a big name from yesteryear.
Yeah.
Crystal Palace. Now, wasn't Big Sam...
Big Sam, yeah. They finished 5th in the league when he was at
Bolton.
At Bolton, yeah. They got to the Europa League.
What do you think?
Bolton, second League One. They've won the last 10 home games. If ever there's a Premiership team under pressure this week, they one of them, Crystal Palace. They can't keep a clean sheet. And it was a disappointing result on Tuesday night. You know, the fans weren't happy after. You know, Swansea, I don't know, they just sneaked the result. The second goal they scored was superb. But defensively, Crystal Palace are all over the place. You know, any results possible here, Paul?
Yeah. Looking at the next game that's coming up here, Budge, and this is very interesting. Funnily enough, Millwall. Now, Millwall have got thugs, you know. I met the talent scout, Ian Hazel, I think his name is.
Okay.
Used to play for Chelsea, was a fringe player at Chelsea, and he is the scout for Millwall. And they got to get down there each week. I had a wonderful chat with him, and very interesting, very interesting.
It was voted the least most popular ground to visit in England.
Gee. Yeah, he was at the. Funny enough, I saw him at Craig Benton. Went around to see Craig Benton.
Okay.
And his wife and this guy's wife are big buddies. So a very interesting guy to talk to.
Okay.
How they got to look at players. He said, "You're surprised how many scouts there are out there."
There's thousands out there, Paul.
And the successful ones get a couple of pounds. How will they go against Bournemouth?
Well, they've done well at home. I think they've won 7 of the last 10 home games, Millwall. But Bournemouth disappointing against Arsenal, Paul. You know, 3-0 up.
Yeah, let's just touch on the game. Wasn't that disappointing? If I'd have said to the manager, "Will you take a point now?" he'd have said yes.
Yeah, but before the game, Arsene Wenger, Wilshire's been one of their better players, not available.
Yeah.
What do you expect? Oh, we should win this. I know it's easy to say what we should, but it's 3-0 down. Wenger would have...
Have you looked at Bournemouth's home record?
Sure.
I know when Spurs drew 0-0 with them, I said, "Phew, Spurs weren't too good." I said, "Go there. It's a little matchbox."
Yeah, Sunderland beat them. The teams that get into them upset them, but Arsenal don't do that.
Yeah.
But the defending from Arsenal was terrible. To get the point at the end of the day was a good result.
But they shouldn't have lost.
They should never have lost.
Well, shouldn't have drawn at least. Okay, so they will be...
you've got to fancy
Wilshere comes back.
He's got to play, you know, and I think the manager will be throwing his toys out of the cot.
Good
so
manager.
You'd expect Bournemouth to get a result.
Okay, Everton versus Leicester City. Everton currently a distant 7th in the log.
Yeah.
Leicester City, funny enough, they play well in all tournaments except the league.
Well, they've got the second worst away record. I think they've played 13 away games in all competitions this season. Only won one, that was against Club Brugge. You know, Everton at home, Paul, they're hard to beat. Only Liverpool have beat them there in the league for a long time. Yeah, and Liverpool scored late.
We drew with them, that's right.
United drew 1-1, they beat Arsenal. Yeah. So it's a hard place to go, Goodison. Tight post.
Funny enough, the home grounds are fortresses in the Premier League.
Yeah, except West Ham. It's the Olympic Stadium.
Well, they've got a new stadium.
Yeah.
And Spurs playing at Wembley.
Yeah, and that's how it should be, Paul.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to go on with...
fancy Everton. Over 2 teams,
West Brom, Derby. Now, Derby aren't that bad. Funny enough, I watched them play. They're not a bad side.
Yeah, well organised, you know. Prior to getting beat by Norwich 3-0 away on Monday, that particular game, they were 1-0 down and they had a red card, so they ended up getting beat easily. But prior to the 10 games before that, they'd won 8 and drawn 2, and they kept 8 clean sheets. It won't be easy for West Brom.
No.
But, you know, he's going to play his main team, Tony Pulis. And West Brom at home, you know, the only team that's beat them in the last 5 home games was Man United, when they never turned up. Yeah. But other than that, physical team, the set-piece masters, I think West Brom will beat them.
West Brom will beat them, okay. Now, that's very, very interesting. Because as I say, I watched Derby County. I was impressed with them. Sunderland, 18th in the log, play against Burnley, 12th in the log. Burnley away from home.
Yeah, I know, worst away record in the Premiership. But does Sunderland want this game? You know, can they afford to play Jermaine Defoe? If he goes down, they're gone. I think he'll rotate his players. He's got quite a few injuries, David Moyes. But so will Burnley.
Yeah.
You know, they play Southampton at home the next home
won't
game.
be do or die for either?
Well, I think this will be a high-scoring game. The pressure's off. I think they're going to play their squad players. Of the two teams, I like Burnley.
Okay, fair enough. Away from home will be, it's 2-1.
Yeah, purely because I think they'll rest Jermaine Defoe. I just don't think David Moyes can take a chance.
Yeah, he can't, yeah. Okay, and then Hull City, Swansea City.
Yeah,
a tale of two cities.
Yeah, shame.
Currently 20th and 19th in the log.
Yeah.
One's got a new manager starting, the other one's got a new manager starting.
Yeah. You know, Hull have been playing well, Paul. Unfortunately, they just concede too many silly goals.
Yeah.
You know, I just wonder how much the Tuesday night efforts of of Swansea against Crystal Palace will take out of that team.
Yeah.
You know, if I had to side with one team, I would side with Hull. They're going to get a break or two soon. You know, Swansea, if they get beaten the cup...
Do you want to stay in the cup if you're in the relegation zone?
You know, if I was Swansea, it wouldn't bother me.
Yeah.
But Hull City, because they're at home, I think they're forced to have a go for it. Small squad, playing well, but they've got Man United in the League Cup semi-final on Tuesday.
But you know the curse of the cup, as they call it now, the FA Cup. If you go back on the FA Cup, they were showing something when I was over in England. The last FA Cup final, both managers are gone, Van Gaal and Pardew.
Yeah.
Mourinho went after it.
Yeah.
Dalglish. You got to have a look. Of the last 12, 9 have been fired after the.
So I think it's only Arsene Wenger that's still there.
That's right. I think he's only
Steve
one.
Bruce was at Hull. Yeah.
Yeah, they all get bulleted. It's called the curse of the cup. You lose your job.
Stoke,
you'll lose your job. So, all right. Now Birmingham City versus Newcastle United. A good game. Birmingham City, is that my boy from Spurs?
Gianfranco Zola's team.
Is that Franco Zola?
Yeah,
Sorry.
I don't know what's happened there. Since he's taken over, they've played 4 games. 1 draw and 3 defeats. Now, strangely, Newcastle were clear in the championship. They're second now. I think they're 2 points behind Brighton. They've got a game in hand.
Brighton is the team I'm thinking of.
Yeah, that's Chris Hughton's team.
Yeah, he does a good job.
Superb, man. It should have been fought at Newcastle.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're unlucky last year in the championship, Paul. You know, they got to the final game. If they'd beat Middlesbrough, they would have been automatic. And they had a few injuries going into the playoffs. And at half-time, they were 1-0 down. And he'd made his 3 changes. And one guy got injured. Ended up getting knocked out. So quite right, they'll come up, hopefully. But Newcastle have lost 4 of the last 8 games.
Gee, that's unusual. I watched Birmingham City play when I was there because of Zola taking over, and they say it was more of a big name signing than the right guy for the job. You know,
that guy Gary Wright's done what else can you do with Birmingham City? Small club.
I watched them. They're not that good.
No.
It might have been Derby they played against. That's where I saw them both play in the championship over the festive season.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to go for.
I think Newcastle are due to come back.
How about Stoke City against Wolves?
Yeah. Well, Paul Lambert's at Wolves, but Stoke City, Mark Hughes has said he's going to go for the cup. He's going to play his strong team. They cruise past Watford. You know, Peter Crouch has come back into the team. He's played the last 3 weeks. I fancy Stoke.
Yeah. Okay, no problems. We're going to go Stoke. Norwich City, Southampton. Interesting.
Yeah.
9th in the championship, plays 10th in the Premier.
You know, Norwich, of the last 12 home games, Paul, they've won 9. This is another game that could have upset written all over it.
Southampton have got those injuries.
Lost 3 players. They can't score goals, Paul.
Yeah. Will their magnificent centre-half, Virgil van Dijk, will he get sold? He's got to be the hottest centre-half.
I don't think they can afford to sell him in
they always do. If there's one club that sells
end of the year, they'll get more money. There'll be a bidding war.
Oh, you mean there? Sell him then. Yeah, they're going to get big money from. Your boys have drawn Arsenal. Preston North End against Bugsy's boys, Arsenal.
The original Invincibles against the wannabe Invincibles. But hard.
6-1, Preston North End.
You know, Paul, you'd expect Arsenal to rotate the team. You know, the fresher players coming in. They should be too good for us. But
I think that's an interesting stat you told me, Budge, that Arsenal have had no clean sheets in their away games for like last 13.
Yeah.
That's an amazing stat.
I don't think they keep a clean sheet this week either. You know, we've got a couple of big boys and it's going to be direct, put in the box. But I just don't see us winning it.
They've scored 11 of their last 12 games.
That's Preston,
That's Preston, from the North End.
From the North End, yep.
Okay, Middlesbrough, Sheffield Wednesday.
Paul, Middlesbrough, you know, one of the worst games I've seen in a long time was Leicester-Middlesbrough on Sunday.
Yeah.
Diabolical. You know, the poor guy up front, he's on his own Negredo, 5 in the midfield, and that was at home. Yeah. Sheffield Wednesday were impressive. I watched them beat Newcastle on Boxing Day. They won 1-0 away from home. And not a bad team, Sheffield Wednesday. I think they can upset the apple cart here.
Okay, that's very interesting. Right. But, we've gone through that. Now, we said we're going to run through the Spanish League because we've got the African Cup of Nations going to start here. I'm going to go through the games with you quickly. And Espanyol, who are ninth, play Deportivo La Coruna.
Well, Espanyol's a guy that was in charge of Watford last year, that Kiki Sanchez Flores. They won 4 and drew 4, so they'd won 4 and drawn 4 the last 9 games until they played Barcelona, and they got a hiding. They got beat 4-1 at home, but they were competitive. Deportivo La Coruna.
They're 15th.
Paul, at home, good team. The last time they got beat 3-2 by Real Madrid, they've improved lately. Friday night game, first game back from the winter break.
Can they go for the draw?
I think win and draw Espanyol.
Okay, Real Madrid are 1-12.
I shouldn't be betting on this, but they won 3-1 last night. They beat Sevilla. No Ronaldo. Cruz should be too good.
Eibar versus Atletico Madrid. 8th plays 6th.
The Gunners of Spain. At home they're hard to beat. They
only lost one of their last 11 at home.
Unfortunately, they played Atletico Madrid 4 times, and they haven't beat them in any occasion. But it'll be a hard game. Atletico Madrid, I watched them play my boys Las Palmas on Tuesday night.
Yeah, I was 2-1.
But 2-0.
2-0.
They looked a lot fresher.
Yeah.
So of the 2 teams, you've got to fancy Atletico Madrid. But in your exotics...
What about our boys Las Palmas? They're at home now.
Yeah, well, they got beat by Atletico. I watched the first half. They made like 7 changes from their normal team.
Sporting
I think they'll
Gijon.
be too good. Sporting Gijon.
7-10, eh?
Yeah.
Real Sociedad, Sevilla, they lost. You just telling me?
Well, Real Sociedad beat Villarreal last night. It was on. I missed the start. It started at 8. They beat Villarreal 3-1 in one of the form teams in Spain. Paul, at home, hard to beat. The only team in the last 6 that's drawn with them is Barcelona. And that was a game that gave Barcelona a football lesson. Sevilla, 3rd in the league. That mad Chilean, the bald-headed Sampale, he's taken over there. Going well. But away from home, they struggled lately, Sevilla.
A lot of these teams seem to struggle.
Yeah, so of the 2 teams, I like Real Sociedad, but the draw is obviously a player.
Atletico Bilbao, Alaves.
Yeah, it's the Basque. It's the only team in Spain that signed players from the province. They don't sign
that's
out.
right. Yeah, the Basque.
It's a lunchtime kickoff. Hard to beat at home, Atletico Bilbao, but they play Barcelona in the Cup tonight at home. So I wonder how much that's going to take out of them. Yeah. Better team, but the other team have come right. They've only lost 1 of the last 9. Defensively, they've got better. But of the 2 teams, Atletico Bilbao for me.
Real Betis versus, who's that?
Leganes. Yeah, they got promoted last year, Leganes. Struggling away from home. Real Betis, since they put the new manager in charge, have come well.
Even money, you take the even money?
Definitely. So
Celta Vigo, Malaga.
Yeah, they beat
12th plays, 13th plays 11th.
Yeah, well, Celta Vigo qualified for the Europa League. So last year they finished 5th. The guy Nolito that's at Man City, he was their best player. They sold him. I watched them beat Valencia on Tuesday night. Outstanding performance. At home, good team. They play Malaga. Record. Yeah, they play Malaga. Now, Malaga haven't won away from home, but they did draw at Barcelona 0-0.
Okay, so it's tough.
So a tough game. It was Juan de Ramos' team. I think he was the ex-Spurs manager.
Yeah.
He resigned over Christmas, but of the 2 teams, Celta Vigo. But
okay, Villarreal play Barcelona. Now, Barcelona 5-10, even though Villarreal are 4th.
Yeah, well, Villarreal, Paul, best defence in the league. I don't know whether they played their main players last night. Going well, but Barcelona, the full squad's available, and if they're on song, should be a high-scoring game, but you've got to fancy Barca.
Okay, and then Osasuna, Valencia.
2 terrible teams, Paul, Osasuna, bottom of the league. I think they've only won 1 game this year. Yeah. Valencia, the manager walked out over Christmas. They promised him a few players. Ex-Cesare Prandelli, the ex-Italian manager.
Yeah.
I won't be watching that. But
okay, Budge, now the key comes in. I know we're ticking over with our bets, and it's going well. Let's just go to the Soccer 6, because you've caught a few of these lately, and the first one's up on the screen there. Manchester United, the bank, I agree.
Yep. Bolton 1-2-3. I've gone for 2 upsets obviously in the soccer terms. I think Bolton have a chance against Crystal Palace. I don't see Everton losing to Leicester. Because we can throw the draw in with Bournemouth, I've thrown the draw in. I've gone Norwich to get an upset 1, 2, and 3 against Southampton. And I hate to say it, but I think Arsenal will be too good for Preston.
2-1-6, the customary 2-1-6. Right, that's Soccer 6. Next one here.
Yeah, no, I don't see Newcastle getting beat. I think Benitez under a bit of pressure. So, tight game. I think the draw's a big player. Hull Swansea, any results possible. I think Stoke will be too good for Wolves. 1-2-3, Sunderland and Burnley. I've thrown the draw in with Watford and Burton because they're out of form. And West Brom, I think, will beat Derby. If you do want to change it and bank a Watford and throw the draw with West Brom, but I think West Brom will be too good for Derby.
Okay, let's go look at soccer 10 now, Budge. We've gone through the top one, and that is obviously Newcastle. You've gone Newcastle in the draw.
You know, Bolton, Crystal Palace, obviously I've gone 1, 2, 3. I don't see Everton losing to Leicester. On the field with Hull City versus Swansea. I think Bournemouth will be too good for Millwall.
Okay, that's soccer 5. Let's get the back 10.
Yeah, I've gone 1, 2, 3 looking for the upset with Norwich. I think Stoke will beat Wolves. I sided with Burnley against Sunderland and had to banker Watford and West Brom because of the perm.
Okie dokie. Now the soccer 13. These, how they've been paying, Budge? They've been paying well?
Yeah, some of them have been paying a couple of million and some of them have been paying shrapnel, but, you know, always good to catch them, but obviously never easy.
It gets a bit harder now. Okay, we know the top game, but how about Blackpool Barnsley?
Well, Blackpool, bottom of the league. Owen Holloway was in charge the other day when they were in the Premiership a couple of years ago.
That's
now
right.
they're in the League Two. You know, Barnsley, our hoodoo team, are 8th in the Championship. They've come well. They won 4 of the last 6 away games. If they play their best team, which I think they will, they should be too good for Blackpool. You know, I've gone for that's the split.
I see
there.
you've left Crystal Palace off the
Yeah,
win
it's a
sheet.
1, 2, 3 game, but Paul, I've got to side with one team. And Sam, I remember when he was at West Ham, he took a reserve team to Nottingham Forest in the Cup. It was a Sunday game. They got beat 5-0. You know, he gets 4 million to keep them in the league, reportedly. So I know where his efforts are going to lie. So I've looked for a bit of value. If you went Palace in the draw, but I like Bolton to cause an upset. Everton in the draw against Leicester. I've given Hull purely because I think Swansea may rotate their squad after Tuesday night against Palace. I think Bournemouth will be too good for Millwall. Likewise, I think Norwich at home, I think they can upset Southampton. And 1 and 2 there.
Page 2.
QPR, it's Holloway's team. They've won their last 2 games.
They're not a good side.
No, not a good side. You know, Blackburn beat Newcastle at home the other day, but away from home, they're struggling, Blackburn. It's a 1, 2, 3 game, Paul, but because of the perm, I've sided with QPR. I think Stoke will beat Wolves. I've gone Burnley in the draw against Sunderland.
Yeah.
I think Watford will beat Burton, West Brom and Derby. Now, the last game's a nightmare. You know, Wigan at home, I think have scored 2 goals in the last 6 home games. They've drawn 1 and lost 5. Nottingham Forest, on the other hand, can't keep a clean sheet. They've played 24 league games. They've kept 1 clean sheet. Yeah, likewise, it's a 1, 2, 3 game. But, you know, Wigan at home,
yeah,
you know, I think it's a draw written all over it. But if I had to side
customary
with one team,
435.
435, yeah.
All right, Budge. Now here, what everyone wants to know what's going on is obviously your bets. And the weekend bets, you got to get lucky, but there's some nice ones. You're 200 Rand a time. West Brom?
Well, West Brom are playing Derby. I think they'll beat them. They were a nice price. Now, Rochdale are away from home. You know, Rochdale are 4th in League One, going well. They're playing a team Barrow, 6th in the National League, the Amateur League. They should be too good for them. And Leeds United, strangely, on a Monday night, they play Cambridge away from home. I couldn't believe the price on Leeds United. Going well, good team.
Yeah. Who's in charge
That's
then?
Gary Monk, the ex-Swansea guy.
That's right, yeah.
I should never have fired him, you know. So.
Okay, then you gone win draw. Explain that for the couple
Okay, now the
out there.
second one, I've gone Las Palmas, my beloved Las Palmas to beat Sporting Gijon. I've gone Real Betis to beat Leganes, and I've gone Barcelona to beat Villarreal, and both teams to score.
Is that in the last game?
That's in the Barcelona-Villarreal game. So I thought the odds were quite...
1750 and 200.
just over 8 to 1. Then the double. Now, both of these teams have to score over 1.5 goals.
West Ham against?
Man City. I can't have that Bravo, whether he'll play or whether he'll play Caballero.
A bit of a fisherman, eh?
Yeah, I can't have him, Paul. You know, and Rotherham, who's struggling at the Championship, they're playing Oxford, team that concede goals. But Rotherham means scoring goals at home. I think this is their chance to get, and it was good price, Paul, 11-2, both of those teams.
Yeah, okay, we'll take our chance, 1.5 goals each.
Okay,
and then here.
The win draw. You know, I've looked at value again. You know, Burnley at Sunderland. I've gone Burnley win draw against Sunderland. I've gone Norwich win draw against Southampton.
Hard game.
Hard game. Sheffield Wednesday. I've gone win draw at Middlesbrough.
Yeah.
And I've taken the fly at the price. I've gone Bolton in the draw against Crystal Palace.
Whoa, you've really...
It's tough, Paul, but
it's tough.
I looked at the win draw and some of the prices. I can't take 1 to 6s and all that. You know, I know you can put 20 together and you get 4, 5 to 1.
One will let you down there.
Yeah, they normally do in the FA Cup. And then I customarily both teams to score. I've gone West Ham, Man City on Friday night. I think Bolton...
Friday night game?
Yep. Bolton, Crystal Palace, Burnley, Sunderland, and Preston, Arsenal. You know, just over 6 to 1.
Just one of
sorry,
them's
9 to 1. That
just one of them's got to arrive, Budge.
Yep.
Okay, well, that sums it up. But so it starts from Friday night right
Friday
through to
night,
Monday.
yeah. Even the Spanish League too, the first game's on Friday night, Espanyol.
And then we'll be getting to follow up on the African Cup of Nations.
Yep, starts middle of January, yeah.
Excellent. Okay, there we are. That's all that's happening. We'll see you next week. Get on side.